Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the academic procession and the Chancellor.
I declare that the 598th Convocation of McMaster University for the conferring of degrees is now in session.
Please be seated. Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Leonard Waverman, the Dean of the DeGroote School of Business. It's my privilege and pleasure on behalf of McMaster University to welcome all of you, graduates and guests, to this convocation ceremony. I'd like to start by recognizing and acknowledging that we meet today on the traditional territories of the Mississauga and Haudenosaunee nations and within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. I would also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge some of the notable leaders joining me on the stage today. Our Chancellor, Dr. Suzanne Labarge, President and Vice Chancellor, Dr. Patrick Dean, Provost and Vice President Academic, and today's Master of Ceremonies, Dr. David Farrar, Vice President, University Advancement, Ms. Mary Williams, Associate Vice President, Students and Learning, and Dean of Students, Mr. Sean Van Connegut, Associate Deans, Directors, Chairs, faculty members, and honored guests. Before we start our formal program, I ask first everyone in the hall switch off any electronic device that may ring, beep, or make any other unfortunate noises during the ceremony. Dear graduates, congratulations. Give yourself a really big hand. And now another big hand for all your loved ones, parents, friends, and others who got you here today. Now let's have a go DeGroote, go! Go DeGroote, go! Thank you. Michael G. DeGroote, after whom our business school is named, began by shoveling and delivering manure from dairy farms to tobacco fields at age 15 with one truck, no license. He was bankrupt at 21 because he expanded too fast. But at age 29, he paid it all back and was the largest trucking firm in Ontario. There are 3 lessons from this story. First, it can be really crappy at the beginning. Thank you. Second, failure is a learning opportunity if you are resilient. And third, there is no limit to what you can do. You are going into a world that appears fraught with dangers. Artificial intelligence, blockchain. How will you survive all this technology? Always remember that you have deep human skills. That's what we at DeGroote help develop. Creative problem solving, thinking outside the box, teamwork, communications. We call these the essential skills. Some people, like engineers, call them soft skills, but hey, they're essential. And they live in the hearts and minds of great business leaders like you will be. Elon Musk, a year ago, moved into his Tesla 3 factory because it was behind schedule and really not producing what had to be done. He slept on the floor. After a month, he said this: excessive automation at Tesla was a mistake. To be precise, humans are underrated. Thank you, Elon. Remember, the world needs you, graduates. You and your HI, human intelligence. Use those essential skills, human intelligence, and you will excel. Congratulations again. And now let me call upon our Chancellor, Dr. Susan Labarge, to deliver her welcoming remarks.
Welcome, honored guests, staff, faculty, families, friends, and most importantly, graduands. This is an exciting day for all of you who are graduating today, as well as for all those people who have supported you and stood behind you, and in so many cases have had a key role in you being here today. You've achieved a great deal to get here, and you should all be very proud of your success and looking forward to what the future might bring. Congratulations, and enjoy the ceremony.
My name is David Farrar, and I am the Provost and Vice President Academic of the University. And this morning I have the great pleasure of acting as your Master of Ceremony. I would now like to welcome Dr. Patrick Dean, President and Vice Chancellor, to the podium, who will be presenting the honorary degree recipient.
Madam Chancellor, by the authority of the Senate of McMaster University, I have the honor to present Teresa Cascioli. Teresa Cascioli graduated from McMaster in 1983 with a Bachelor of Commerce degree and began her career in the public sector. Moving into the corporate world, she quickly built a track record of successes that led to her appointment in April 1999 as the Chief Executive Officer of Lakeport Brewing, a small and then struggling brewing company on Burlington Street in Hamilton's North End. Ms. Cascioli led Lakeport Brewing out of bankruptcy protection through a now legendary turnaround. She undertook an initial public offering of the company on the TSX, which culminated in the sale of Lakeport to the international brewing giant Labatt. She was also a longtime member of the board of directors for the Brewers Association of Canada. Ms. Cascioli is, to this day, the only woman to have owned and operated a large brewery in Canada, and the only woman to have run a publicly traded brewery in this country. As Ms. Cascioli built Lakeport into a thriving company, she became a fixture in the top 5 of the Profit and Chatelaine magazine's lists of top Canadian women entrepreneurs. In 2004, Ernst & Young named her Entrepreneur of the Year in the turnaround category, and she was a finalist for the same award 2 years later. Canada's Venture Capital and Private Equity Association also named Ms. Cascioli Entrepreneur of the Year, and the Canadian Professional Sales Association inducted her into the Sales Hall of Fame. She was named one of the Women's Exchange Network Top 100 Canada's Most Powerful Women and received the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal. Ms. Cascioli's other honors include the Hamilton Chamber of Commerce Outstanding Business Achievement Award, the Italian Chamber of Commerce of Toronto Business Excellence Award, the CIBPA Hamilton Business Excellence Award, and the CIBPA Toronto Professional Excellence Award. She was inducted into the Hamilton Gallery of Distinction in 2012. Now a trusted advisor in the business world, a motivational speaker, and the author of the M is for Money series of financial literacy books for children, Ms. Cascioli has dedicated herself to an ambitious philanthropic mission. She founded the Teresa Cascioli Charitable Foundation, which focused its work on education, healthcare, hunger, homelessness, and poverty by supporting organizations including the Salvation Army, City Kids, Hamilton Food Share, the YMCA, McMaster Children's Hospital, and the Out of the Cold Initiative. Her contribution to St. Joseph's Healthcare Foundation's Timeless Care, Tomorrow's Discoveries campaign supported surgical excellence at the hospital where she was born, and she was named the Association of Fundraising Professionals Hamilton Philanthropist of the Year in 2008. At McMaster, Ms. Cascioli was a member of the campaign cabinet executive for the phenomenally successful Campaign for McMaster University and created the Teresa Cascioli Chair in Entrepreneurial Leadership in the DeGroote School of Business. In 2018, she also joined DeGroote as an industry professor for entrepreneurship. She is a member of the McMaster Alumni Gallery and has received both the Leading with Distinction Award and the Wayne C. Fox Distinguished Alumni Award. Madam Chancellor, Teresa Cascioli has long been part of the McMaster family as a student, alumna, volunteer, philanthropist, advisor, and even industry professor. Today, she adds a new title to that list, Honorary Degree Recipient. I ask that you recognize Ms. Cascioli's achievements in business and community leadership by conferring upon her the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
Teresa Cascioli, by the authority of McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa in McMaster University, with all the rights and privileges pertaining to that degree. Congratulations. Thank you. Please sign that. I would now like to invite Dr. Cascioli to deliver the convocation address.
Hello. Madam Chancellor, President Dean, esteemed guests, graduating students, family, and friends. I'm overwhelmed and deeply grateful to receive this honor today from McMaster, my own university. A special shout out to my family members who were able to attend today. I appreciate your love and support. I'm especially excited to be standing in front of you, the class of 2019. You did it. Congratulations. It's been a long journey, and you're just getting started. I remember the first time I held a book of my own. I had graduated from grade 1, and while out shopping with my father, he let me choose a book for myself. He could have bought me candy or a toy that day, but he deliberately offered me a book. I chose a beautifully illustrated story about a little angel with dreams of becoming an archangel. She worked hard, followed the rules, and never gave up, despite many temptations. Finally, she was anointed archangel. I read that book over and over again. I can still see every page in my mind's eye. More importantly, I remember how the story made me feel and the lessons it taught me. Just holding my very own book was enough to make me feel wise and grown up. The story gave me confidence that I could realize my own dreams. Because of that story, I fell in love with books and all they have to teach us. About 12 years later, I was a nerdy girl starting my first year at McMaster with my nose still firmly planted in my books. By the time I graduated, I was a young woman armed with knowledge and ready to take on the world. McMaster challenged me academically and personally. I learned to make wise choices about my time and financial resources. On the first day of classes, my economics professor said, "Look to your left, now look to your right. One of the people sitting next to you will not graduate." That turned out to be true. Of the 429 students who started the first-year commerce program in 1979, only 209 would graduate. Those were tough years, filled with early morning classes, due dates, all-night reading sessions, and some killer exams. My Bachelor of Commerce degree prepared me well for the real world of early shifts, long hours, deadlines, teamwork, and personal sacrifices that are so necessary to succeed in business. Yes, we learned about accounting, finance, statistical analysis, and economics, but more than anything, my classmates and I learned to work hard and solve problems in challenging conditions. Some would say a university degree is just a piece of paper. I mean, really, if you're a smart, industrious person, you can get a job without one, right? Perhaps. But this piece of paper tells a story. It proves you know how to work hard and overcome challenges, and that you've learned the theoretical fundamentals of business. In the end, though, it is only a piece of paper, unless you activate it. Your McMaster BCom is not a meal ticket or a get-out-of-jail-free card. It's a document that tells the world you have potential. The rest is up to you. I was the eldest and first in my immigrant family to earn a university degree, and I am forever grateful to McMaster for the privilege of completing my education at a world-class institution right here in my hometown. In the spirit of sharing with my McMaster family, I'd like to offer you 10 brief lessons I've learned since graduating. I put my piece of paper to use immediately. I used it to get my first job as a lowly accounting clerk. Lesson 1, you must start somewhere. I gathered some experience and added it to my piece of paper to earn a slight promotion. Lesson 2, nothing comes easily. I spent years working late and working early to prove myself through a long series of incremental promotions. Lesson 3, there are no shortcuts. Along the way, I was rejected many times. Promotions I didn't get as an employee, financing I didn't get as a business person, customers I lost, and employees I couldn't attract. That didn't stop me. If it were easy, everyone would do it. Lesson 4, never give up. I worked in what may be the most male industry of all, the beer business. Men owned the breweries. Men ran the breweries. Let's face it, men drink most of the beer. I'm a woman, and I'll tell you a secret not to be repeated. I don't even drink beer. But I ran and later owned my own brewery and showed those men how it was done. Lesson 5. Lesson 5 is for women and men alike. Girl power is fierce. You didn't earn your special piece of paper on your own. Thank the people who helped you reach this point, and thank the others who will help you along the way during the rest of your journey. Lesson 6, remember your manners. You've completed your education at a world-class institution in this peaceful, beautiful country of Canada. Too many are denied the chance because of poverty, war, and inequality. Lesson 7, honor your opportunity. When I started that first job, I had no idea that one day I'd turn around a bankrupt brewery, but I worked hard and kept an open mind the whole time. Lesson 8, you never know where your work will take you. I was born in the 60s, back when doctors, accountants, and lawyers made house calls. When my parents sold their house, their lawyer came to our home to have them sign the papers. My father greeted him at the door, shook his hand, took his coat and his hat, and showed him to the kitchen table. When the lawyer spoke, my parents listened reverently. I watched in awe and decided, I'm going to be a lawyer. That didn't happen, but I've certainly hired my share of lawyers, and I can tell you, they don't make house calls anymore. Instead of the legal profession, I somehow ended up in the lawyer profession, and yet today, I'm receiving a Doctor of Laws. I couldn't be happier. Lesson 9, good things come to those who wait. I'm excited for you, the class of 2019. I hope you'll never forget the halls and classrooms of McMaster University. It's so important to remember these experiences and the people who made them possible. You have yet to realize the impact your McMaster roots will have on your life. When you do, be sure to return as an alumnus and participate in any way you can. Lesson 10, never forget where you came from. Congratulations today on receiving a very important piece of paper, your Bachelor of Commerce degree from McMaster University. You worked hard for it, and I can't wait to see what you make of it. Thank you.
Dr. Cascioli, thank you very much for your comments. One of the privileges of this role is that I get to present and grant the honorary degree recipient their degree. And it's always a pleasure to do it. We've chosen people who are outstanding in their fields, have contributed to their communities, are really people that we can look up to and admire. And it is even so much better when it's one of our own. And so Dr. Cascioli is just eminently qualified to be standing here, has contributed enormously. But I think also the lessons she has to teach you are ones that are worth remembering. So thank you all very much.
President Dean will now come forward to present the graduands to our Chancellor for admission to their degrees.
Will the graduands please stand? Madam Chancellor, on behalf of McMaster University Senate, I present to you these candidates and those in absentia in order that you may confer the appropriate degrees upon them, and I bear witness that they are worthy and suitable.
Graduands, by my authority and that of the McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to admit to those before me today and those in absentia to their individual degrees at McMaster University with all of the rights and privileges pertaining to those degrees. My sincere congratulations to you all. Please be seated.
Graduates, I now ask each of you to join me on stage so that the Chancellor and I may welcome you to the McMaster community of scholars.
Ladies and gentlemen, so that each graduate's name may be heard, it would be appreciated if during the presentation of the graduands, you would hold your collective applause to the end of each degree category. Thank you. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Commerce Honors. Yusra Abdahalium. Saif Sharif Abdelnabi. Habiba Abdel Rahman. Ibrahim Abu Dega. Elizabeth Amobalele Adef Yunfa. Abdullah Ahmad. Farsad Ahmad. Rumsha Ahmad. Arjang Ahmadi. Dure Aiden Ahmad. Fahad Akhtar. Teresa Hazim Al-Haderi. Mahdi Al-Toum. Sabran Al-Dawi. Noreen Alidina. Manal Mohammad Ali Al-Shaybani. Sarah Ashiel. Noor Arshad. Alexandra Hope Atkinson. Stephen James Atkinson. Siar Aziz. Zoha Badar. Paul Untai Bai. Bilal Mirza Beg. Zubair Rashid Beg. Brianna Christina May Bailey. Nicole Nadine Bailey. Jake Timothy Bain. Jessica Carr Banwaite. Stephen Anthony Barta. Adita Amanda Basta. Andrea Basurto. Nicholas Belvedere. Gabrielle Angela Bernardin. Rohan Bhatia. Amadeus Bialy. Colin Billick. Ravnur Bindra. Cody Stephen Boers. Michelle Alexandra Boyven. Nicole McLean Bollinger. Simran Kaur Brar. Pedro Brito Ribeiro. Haley Joy Buckley. Adam Christopher Buffett. Danielle Marie Bernison. Alexandra Jacqueline Camano. Christopher Caballero. Yishuan Kai. Matthew Camizola. Matthew Brandon Camarachi. Noel Patrick Cardy. Jade Case. Alexander Clayton Castleman. Monica Sienna Catarini. Julia Champagne. Shuiping Chen. Zoe Chen. Rachel Marissa Chiraval. Totiwe Chalendo. Sarah Shimenti. Christine Chin. Violet Shaweri. Elaine Ka Ming Choi. Tiffany Chu. Hamza Chandragar. Andrew Julio Chardella. Harrison Carberry Clark. Lauren Clark. Montezar Mady Contractor. Ian Gregory Coombs. Ian Mario Koski. Mark David Coulter. Matthew James Crane. Emily Mutsuku Cummings. Victoria Angela Dastisi. Matthew Michelle Dagenet. James Daigle. Sarah Dacron. Alejandra Dalmas. Michael Dang. Matthew Allen De Silva. Sahil Datta. Michael Manuel de Medeiros. Andrew D'Souza. Matthew Thomas Lacey DeChico. Andrew James Delagianis. Bryson Horst Dell. Juliana DeLuca. Vim Delungaha Watha. Hillary Minnis Dempsey. Haley Claire Dimension. Jessica Nicole Derrick. Hannah Desprez. Venetia Danza. Karandeep Dillon. Preetpal Dillon. Ravneet Kaur Dufer. Alexandra D. Domenico. Kevin D. Sanza. Chao Ding. Jake Dolbeck. Era Dora. Adam Stephan Doran. Joshua Brian Douglas. George Duros. Donovan Denny Tyler Dowridge. Philip Dreisey. Stephen Druniak. Alexa Madison Dubé. Alana Danielle Sweet Duggan. Bavleen Kaur Dulé. Conlon Eric Edwards. Caroline Egan. Mayun Fan. Mark Peter Verbotko. Farheen Fatima. Daniel Joseph Fellows. Mark Felibos. Jonathan Kejathan Fernandez. Caroline Elizabeth Ferry. Elena Lynn Felice. Matthew Felice. Joel Fillion. Patrick Flanagan. Joshua Douglas Forbes. Tessa Susan Foreman. Crystal Sherry Formhouse. Grant William Forsyth. Matthew Lucas Fortino. Davis Fowler. Jason Mitchell Fremantle. Cody Stephen Galez. Jamin Gan. Svetlana Gavorkian. Bianca Gimbason. Amrit Gill. Parmveer Gill. Brianna Gilpin. Nicole Godlewski. Parker Gold. Claudia Gomez. David Grant. Victoria Gugatti. Justin Zachary Wolf Greiger. Miao Miao Gu. Kaigan Kwok Guo. Ian Hall. Austin Hampill. Emily Yang Han. Jacob Haynes. Justina Hanna. Saleha Hassan. Carter Heyman. Adam John Heaven. Julie Alexandra Hessen. Graham Gordon Higgins. John David Haludi. Harold Huang. Saif Husmanali. Habo Hu. Yan Ren Huang. Zihao Huang. Lauren Holly Huber. Ryan Hunter. Ethan Hurst. Rachel Victoria Incrotoli. Y. Sam Bonnie Ip. Anushia Ishak. Alec Jaden. Arjen Jakupi. Liban Jama. Jennifer Andrea Janukta. Austin Janikovsky. Aisha Javed. Sandra Jednak. Jian Ji. Fengwei Jiang. Michaela Meharry Johnston. Elijah Jordan. Camilla Hoquera. Marco Alexander Yugovich. Philip Bernard Cadlick. Daryl Tafuma Kahia. Manjoth Kaur Kainth. Rafe Kalim. Simran Kalpesh Desai. Tejasvi Kamath. Mohan Kandari. Alyssa Margaret Kane. Hafiz Salim Kanji. Julian Richard Karolidis. Gavin Leslie Harding Keller. Sean Daniel Kelly. Mohammed Hussein Khattab. Jichini Kobalakrishnan. Noah Kibur. Madeline Julia Kirkpatrick. Monica Kirilos. Pravina Kurabakaran. Jonathan Michael Klein. Danilo Kostecki. Jesse Gihei Kwok. Julian Paul Lagleva. Jake Lamb. Justin Andre Lamb. Valerie Olivia Lamb. Brad Lemiers. Nicholas George Lang. Juliana Lascala. William Andrew Laurie. Benjamin Lee. Joyce Lee. Bernice Lee. Christopher Legris. Avery Elise Lewis. Alex Kai Y. Lee. Jing Li. Jingmeng Li. Meng Li. Shenlong Li. Ximin Li. Yalan Li. Yong Li. Zhenkun Li. Wanzhu Liang. Monica Lin. Jason Lin. Sukin Lee Lin. Nicholas Lindsay. Byron Liu. Raymond Liu. Jinyi Liu. Yishin Liu. Corey Livingstone. Danica Victoria Lagarta Chin. Michelle Lopatowski. Connor Edward Lorenz. Abby Leona Loshuk. Michael Joseph Love. Nicholas Luchak. Jackson Louis. Alice Lum. Angela Ma. Yiwen Ma. Yia Ma. Emily Karina Madden. Hamza Mahmood. Kristen Mancini. Victoria Mangialardi. Jonathan Marchioli. Avril McCammon. Andrew McCullough. Sarah Kathleen McCurdy. Bradley Douglas McDonald. Reed McEachran. Emily Diane McKinnon. Liam Douglas McLaughlin. Ihan Memon. Matthew Menicola. Victoria Maureen Miles. Jignesh Mistry. Heidi Mittal. Jingwen Mo. David Mochenko. Genevina Morales. Sydney Marie Morton. Nicole Mumford. Samin Mumtaz. Sharan Muthakrishnan. Saman Najib. Amanda Narangoda. Brandon Bing Kwong Nai. Sotiris Niavis. David Nicoletti. Stephanie Nkusi. Teresa Nong. Nicole Francis O'Halloran. Sophie La Ahochinsky. Sang Huyen Oh. Natalie Demiana Okal. Emily Indigo Osias. Olawa Tamalare Simisola Oten. Vinay Padalia. Sajan Palakrishnan. Daniel Rodolfo Palladino. Shuni Pan. Catherine Christina Passalent. Claire Peaker. David James Pelizzari. Nicholas Cameron John Pelizzari. Matthew Vincent Perry. Devin Peters. Jordan Piccolo. Nathan William Pleward. Michael Anthony Poreka. Maxim Nicholas Priocanon. Marissa Alexandra Principato. Arthur Chat Fong Kwan. Nikhil Rajdev. Vidi Ajay Rajput. Natalia Ramirez Villota. Mohammed Rana. Tavleen Singh Randawa. Hamza Raouf. Cole Mitchell Reeser. Kaylin Riley. Taylor Matthew Reimer. Troy Donald Gerard Bouchard. Liam Thor Riches. Brianna Margaret Ricotta. Sophia Rickich. Liam Peter Reese. Mackenzie Allison Roach. Waleed Rosanali. Rafael Rozo. Laura Ryan. Dina Saba. Anam Salam. Anna Gabriela Salazar. Matthew Salvetta. Yajaram Sanger. Matthew Connor Santoni. Alexa Victoria Santucci. Arthur Robert Sarbanowski. Ovini Palara Suthara Singha. Jordan Saucier. Stefano Scarcelli. Kaylee Schvetz. Evan Lewis Schlegg. Courtney J. Schultz. Gurjo Singh Sembi. Devin Edward Savaraja. Rafael Serrano. Bhavik Shah. Parivash Sharaf. Govindi Sharma. Dana Nicole Shaver. Garrett Michael Sheehan. Mohammed Sheikh. Ji Shen. Chin Shen. Kirsten Faith Schilling. Falak Shoaib. Hassan Siddiqui. Megan Rose Simone. Reed Jackman Snare. Adam Joseph Snowpeck. Jacob Snow. Victoria Sosnowski. Prana Sithillingham. Kagisan Surkaran. Rosalind Justine Stetler Bozek. Madeline Ann Stainer. Anthony Strauss. Marco Sichevich. Brett Edward Sullivan. Bingren Suen. Danjing Sun. Linye Sun. Yuanda Sun. Jessica Maria Shapaniak. Marin Mikias Tedesi. Mark Taramali. Louis Mackenzie Tebow. Aman Shafiq Thobani. Muching Tian. Irene To. Jennifer Joan Torrens. Kevin Trang. Jason Roosevelt Tsai. Ruchi Tugnate. Natasha Tung. Kristen Nicole Urquhart. Levi Aaron Van Herk. Ryan Vejdani. Hannah Marie Vervisky. Eric Vu. Jennifer Vantuang Vutran. Michael Busina. Benjamin Michael Walsh. Rufang Wang. Sarah Wang. Jovi Wang. Joseph Daniel Wanzeller. Ethan Ira Watson. Jacob Nicholas Workman. Torin Whiteley Hoffelner. Sarah Heidi Wilcox. Hudson Joseph Wildberger. Patrick Robert Willis. Adam Douglas Wong. Jessica Wong. Justin Tinghang Wong. Yu Chung Wong. Fan Wu. Yu Wu. Matthew Wyatt. Zinji Su. Xiaolun Xu. Ogenero Yalaju. Joyce Yang. Sihei Yang. Mailing Yao. Hanson Yi. Ryan Yi. Campbell Yele. Shalina Mankay Young. Shu Yin. Charles Ying. Joshua James Young. Roland Joshua Maligaya Yummel. Michelle Zahir. Sarah Zaid. Yerusha Zaman. Amanda Z. Huilin Zhang. Mingxin Zhang. Wanting Zhang. Zixin Zhang. Xiaohui Zhao. Jiani Zhao. Zhaofan Zhao. Shuxian Zhang. Hulin Zhao. Jijichi Zhou. Ziyun Zhu. Karina Zhu. Sarah Zia. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Commerce. Amar Al-Nabolsi. Zijian Mai. Andrew Sukai.
Let's give one more round of applause for all of our graduates. I would now like to introduce Sofia Ohoshinsky, a graduate of the degree Bachelor of Commerce Honors, who will be delivering the valedictory address.
Good morning, Chancellor Suzanne Labarge, Provost and Vice Academic President David Farrar, President and Vice Chancellor Patrick Dean, distinguished faculty, family, friends, and most importantly, my fellow graduates. My name is Sofia Ochinsky, and I'm incredibly honored to be giving the valedictorian address for the DeGroote School of Business, class of 2019. I'd like to begin by thanking the family and friends gathered here today and supporting us from afar. Without your guidance and patience, we would not be here. Thank you. Not too long ago, our childhood selves imagined our 20s being a time where we've got it completely figured out. We pictured having our big break by 21, driving a luxurious car, and being completely self-sufficient in our own fabulous apartments. Little did we know the horrors of student housing, Hamilton Transit, and the amount of times we'd ask our parents for just one more e-transfer. If you are anything like me, you were hit hard and fast with the realization that your 20s feels more like an awkward phase of figuring out adulthood. When we came to McMaster, it was right out of high school, as teenagers. Many of us were excited for our newfound freedom, but it didn't take long for our workloads to pile, and we began to miss the ease of education we once knew. We also realized how much easier it was to get lost on campus when all of the buildings are referred to in acronyms. From DSB, BSB, and ETB, we navigated, maroon wallets in hand, the sheer mark of a first-year student. If it couldn't get any more confusing, we're introduced to the terminology within DeGroote, like the many more club abbreviations and complicated class versus tutorial codes. As the years went on, our definition of a school week lengthened as Saturday midterms grew into a normal routine. We became much more realistic, realizing our sweatpants and PJs were actually accepted as an appropriate outfit to class. And underestimating the difficulty of a final exam is never a good idea. Thanks for that, 3QA3. The phrase, "I haven't started either," became the most comforting words to hear. Hence, all-nighters remain necessary, but not possible without the support of your classmates. When else in life is your friend going to cheer you on for your 5th cup of coffee, wake you up at 2 a.m. to study, or give you a high five for actually being on time to your 3-hour lecture? Laughter was shared, stress endured, and memories gained that bound us together of a time that is now coming to an end. When we reflect on the enormous amount of work we have invested in our degrees, I find that the best lessons we've learned did not come from any readings or assignments. Instead, it came from the community at McMaster. In this room today are people from all nationalities and backgrounds. McMaster's commitment to creating a culture that reflects diversity has given us an invaluable understanding of life. We recognize that teamwork and collaboration is a critical proficiency in accomplishing any goal, especially when you have a 3 a.m. capstone decision to make. At DeGroote, our professors have shared with us their knowledge, guidance, and passion for learning. They've helped us grow through mandatory class discussions and group presentations. And although we dreaded this, I can honestly say I would not be up here otherwise. As students, we've had the opportunity to run countless successful clubs, being both a mentor and mentee participating and winning multiple case competitions and leading prestigious conferences. From DCS formals, Krispy Kreme sales, concerts, one too many lava pizza orders, and madly fuzzy homecomings and mystery road bus trips, we've shared it all. Although this part of our education cannot be translated into transcript reports, it is exhibited through the individual growth experienced by each one of us. Many of us would agree that the world we once invented in our heads has not turned out as planned. But I'm sure that any of your family and friends gathered here would attest that your childhood self would be so incredibly proud of the person you are today. Once prospective students of this great institution, we are now alumni. We've proven strength, perseverance, and intelligence in getting this far. We are so privileged to have received an education, as university graduates are already among the luckiest 7% of people alive today. Our education is not only a privilege, but a call. It's a call to use the knowledge we've gained and talents we've discovered to build a brighter world. You may not realize it now, but in this room contains the next generation of entrepreneurs, executives, researchers, professors, and the list goes on. It's pretty impressive. Consider how much you've changed in the last 4 years. Think of what you'll become or accomplish in the next 5. You have an obligation and the freedom to choose a career that best suits your skills and values. Do not let the best you've done so far be a standard for how you live the rest of your life. Always push yourself to do better. I encourage all of us not to lose our passion for learning, as we are a generation of students graduating in a world in more of need of change than ever before. I continue you to keep asking questions, challenging thoughts, staying aware, and growing better to be who you were than the year before. There are times in life that we take for granted what's right in front of us. While we're chasing the extraordinary moments, it's important that we don't forget to pay attention to the ordinary ones. Appreciate your friends and family and the opportunities you've been given in each and every moment. Life is way too short to wake up with regret. Don't just tell, but also show gratitude in your actions, thanking those who continue to help you grow, and by staying connected to the families and friendships you've created. Love, laugh, and enjoy the little things, because I promise you, in the end, those are the moments that matter the most. Today is the day we graduate university. Where you go from here is entirely up to you. What you do now and the actions you make may well determine the person you will become. As we step into a new chapter, we again have the opportunity to create our next story. What do you want yours to be? I say farewell to a time. This is not a goodbye to my classmates or faculty, and of course, not to McMaster. We have all contributed to McMaster's history, and it will now forever be a part of ours. I'm forever grateful for the years we've had together. I wish you success in all of your future endeavors and congratulate you as this year's class of 2019.
Thank you, Sophie. May I now introduce Jay Krause, a graduate of the Bachelor of Commerce Honors Class of 2018 and a representative of the McMaster Alumni Association. Jay will now deliver the Alumni Association address.
Chancellor Labarge, President Dean, award winners, honorees, faculty, fellow alumni, guests, and especially members of the McMaster class of 2019. If Convocation could talk, it might tell you, your life is changing, so come take part in this ancient ritual while your parents take pictures of you wearing a borrowed gown. But really, crossing this stage marks one of the most significant changes of your life. You're moving from your career as a student to a career as a professional, or from an undergraduate student to a graduate student, or maybe you're trading the goals and routines of university for something more free-form and personal. We all experience the graduation transition in our own way, and no doubt it is just one of many transitions ahead as we move through the stages of life. What won't change is that your experience earning this degree will always be a part of you, and you will always be a part of this community. At times, that connection will feel strong. Other times, it will play the back burner to the many other important priorities in life. But when you do want to turn that lifelong relationship into an activity, a social media interaction, volunteering, or any of the dozens of opportunities, your alumni association will be there for you. That's what they do. You can read about your alma mater, your fellow alumni and classmates in MAC, the news magazine specifically for alumni. Through our monthly newsletter, Maroon Mail, checking out the alumni site on Medium, and reading about your fellow alumni's real lives after MAC. Learn from the Career Newsletter Insights, and join MAC alumni communities on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. You are now members of MAC 10, with programming specifically geared with the minds and needs of recent graduates within 10 years of graduation. Whether you're looking to find your first job or navigate the next steps in your career, the McMaster Alumni Association has a number of resources, events, and programming to help, as well as an alumni career counselors. We even offer some fun socials too. The McMaster Alumni Association offers things you probably didn't realize, like great deals on home and auto insurance and health and dental coverage plans. And if you think that moving away from Hamilton is going to cut your connection to McMaster, that's truly not the case. If you do your part, keeping your contact information up to date on your alumni profile, you'll receive invitations and notices about events taking place near you. They can't get everywhere, but certainly you may be surprised where McMaster events pop up. And finally, with online networking events, mentoring, and webinars, you can always make a MAC connection. Now, when you leave here today, I know that it's likely nothing I've said will stick with you, and that's fine. I won't take it personally. But as a recent graduate myself, I do have just a couple of tips for you. I'd encourage you to wear your MAC pride on your sleeve and be proud when you share where you went to school. You'll be able to make great connections with fellow alumni, and the rest of the folks will just be impressed with your credentials. And do take a minute. Review the alumni website, read the emails, follow the posts, because that is how you will learn what the benefits of being an alumni of McMaster offer you. And whenever that day comes that you're curious, ready to connect, looking to get involved, we'll be here. Marauders to Marauders. Your alumni association, after these spring ceremonies, over 200,000 strong. So members of the class of 2019, congratulations on your convocation, and welcome to the McMaster Alumni Association. We are very proud indeed to have you join the MAC alumni family. Well done, thank you.
Thank you, Jay. I would now like to invite Dr. Dean back to the podium to deliver his President's Address.
Madam Chancellor, Dr. Cascioli, distinguished colleagues, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. Like many of the rituals by which we order our lives, convocation is a combination of the private and the public. Today, graduates, we are celebrating your individual achievements, as well as our collective renewal through those achievements and through the futures that you will all go on to make. Now, convocation is also a form of therapy in that it is intended to give acknowledgement, focus, and expression to our awareness of change, of the life transitions which all of you are experiencing right now, and also of the broader shifts in our society and culture, which of course implicate us all. One phase of life is ending for you and another is beginning. Perhaps still within McMaster if you're planning further study, or as is likely the case, I think, for most of you, beyond our university. While I said Convocation helps to give focus to our awareness of change, that is not to say that it necessarily simplifies moments like this. After all, while the end of one phase can be a relief, it can also occasion a sense of loss or even grief. And while we may approach the beginning of the next phase with excitement, that will also likely come with an admixture of nervousness and sometimes even fear. So the combination of emotions on a day like this will be different for all of us. Now, I'm an English professor going through changes of my own. Some of you may know that I leave McMaster University at the end of this Convocation season. So perhaps you will indulge me a brief poetic moment. I want to read you some lines from T.S. Eliot's poem, Little Gidding. This is the last of his 4 quartets, published in September 1942. And it is a riff, although Eliot would probably never have called it that, on the saying which Mary, Queen of Scots, embroidered on her royal cloth while imprisoned in England prior to execution. This is what she embroidered. En ma fin, gît mon commencement. In my end is my beginning. Nearly 400 years later, also in London, England, and with the massive destruction of successive German bombing raids all around him, T.S. Eliot amplified Queen Mary's motto in this way. What we call the beginning is often the end, and to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from. These, I think, are helpful words on an occasion like this. While it is tempting at times of change to mourn the loss of something past or coming to an end, it is important to keep your focus on the future, however unknown or unknowable that may be. For Mary, Queen of Scots, imprisoned and under threat of execution, the future was imagined as a Christian afterlife. For T.S. Eliot, thinking about Nicholas Ferrar's 17th century religious community in the context of wartime Britain, it was that and more, a social and cultural resurgence animated by belief and unified by transcendent values. To make an end is to make a beginning. That is our theme for today, and we should all embrace it, however differently we see ourselves starting out, and however contrasting are our hopes and ambitions for the future. Acceptance of change, along with the constant process of renewal that it implies, is fundamental to success, whether for individuals like you or me, or for institutions like McMaster, in which we have jointly found a place. Change drives us forward to challenge ourselves and to scale even greater heights. Now, it's not as if we have much choice in the matter. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus is reputed to have observed that change is the only constant in life. But we do have a choice about how we respond to that change, whether we will treat ends as beginnings or merely as ends. And no less a thinker than Confucius has pointed out the link between acceptance of change and growth as a person. He is reputed to have said that they must often change who would be constant in happiness or wisdom. That last point is an important one for all of us as a university family. Despite the fact that universities have been around for over 900 years and are seen as one of the most stable human institutions in the West, they have not been immune to change. Indeed, all the teaching, learning, research, and discovery that happens in a place like McMaster is premised on the relentless pursuit of truth. To be successful, the university must always be changing, developing, and creating new beginnings of one kind or another. In the 9 years I have been at McMaster, I have been witness to constant and far-reaching change. The most obvious example has been alterations to the physical fabric of the place, the demolition of Wentworth House and the construction of L.R. Wilson Hall, the expansion of studio art and engineering experiential education facilities, groundbreaking for the Peter George Center for Living and Learning, opening of the David Braley Health Sciences Center downtown, and construction of the outdoor Indigenous Meeting Circle, to name only a few. Now, mention of the Gerald Hatch Center points to a major shift in pedagogy that has occurred also during the last decade, that has seen the emphasis move towards experiential, technology-enabled, self-directed, and community-engaged ways of learning. And the university has transitioned overall into a more vital engagement with its local and global communities in recognition of our mission to advance human and societal health and well-being. So substantive has been that shift that our university was recently ranked second in the world for our contribution to the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. Now, listing off these changes gives me pause to reflect on the speed with which time passes. Sophie alluded to this in her address to you. I wonder whether you feel, as I do, as if it was only yesterday that you arrived at McMaster. But think about this. What we're celebrating today is, for most of you, the successful completion of a project to which you have devoted approximately 20% of your lives so far. The 9 years I have spent here account for the same percentage of my adult life. It has been time very well spent, I hope you will agree. But it has been spent nevertheless. And the task today is to ponder the time ahead of you and to consider the thoughtful and I hope the joyful ways in which you might use it, making use, I hope, of all the skills and the experience that you've worked so hard to acquire during your time at McMaster. Now, it is interesting that we talk about our relation to time using the same language that we use for commerce. We spend it. Sometimes we invest time. And sometimes that investment of time pays off. There is a witty rejoinder to this habit of speech in one of the very first self-help guides ever written. It's a book called How to Live on 24 Hours a Day by the English author Arnold Bennett. He published this in 1910. And it includes a wide variety of advice for living life to the full. Bennett notes that time is indeed a commodity, but a commodity of a very special sort. The supply of time, he says, is truly a daily miracle. You wake up in the morning, and lo, your purse is magically filled with 24 hours of the unmanufactured tissue of the universe of your life. And it is unstealable, and no one receives either more or less than the 24 hours a day that you receive. Perhaps the best thing about time, he notes further, is that you can't get into time debt. You cannot draw on the future, he says. It is impossible to get into debt. You can only waste the passing moment. You cannot waste tomorrow. It is kept for you. Tomorrow is kept for you. My hope is that you can all make a success of tomorrow and of the new beginning and the new life that you're about to embark on. While this ceremony represents an ending for you and for me, it is also an ending for our esteemed Chancellor, Dr. Suzanne Labarge. Dr. Labarge has served McMaster with great distinction for the last 6 years as our 18th Chancellor and has presided at all of our convocation ceremonies during that time, as well as acting as our most prominent university volunteer. These spring convocations are the last ceremonies that Chancellor Labarge will preside at, and I didn't want to end without recognizing her service and extending our thanks for all that she has done. So there are many of us saying goodbye. Valediction is always difficult, but I will remind you, to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where you start from. My very best wishes to you all.
Congratulations to the class of 2019. As a fellow alumna, one of 200,000, I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens to all of you. And even more so is I remember with my MBA going out into the business world and what that meant. And I have to say, although I wouldn't want to start over again, I loved my career. And I so envy you for what you're facing. You're going into a world that has far more opportunities than existed when I graduated, and far more change. And you've gotten some wonderful advice, both from Dr. Cascioli, from your valedictorian, from President Dean, and I'm sure, I doubt if you absorbed any of it, but maybe a little bit. And I would just add one more, which underlies it all, which is keep pushing your zone of comfort. Reach for that thing that seems just a little bit out of reach. Try that environment that seems just a little different, because you're going into a world that is so exciting and so changing, and every skill you've learned here, you're going to use, and I wish you all the best for that. I also want to thank President Dean for his comments about me. It's, as he said, also his turn to leave. And during the time I've been with and worked with Dr. Dean, what struck me is his emphasis on the environment in which the students operate and the world in which you live here at McMaster. And that's been very much a focus, and I think he's advanced the needle for us enormously on this. And for that, and I hope on your behalf, I would like to thank him ever so much. Now, in closing, I have a few final announcements. A reception will be held for graduates and their guests in Hamilton Convention Center, Wentworth Room C, immediately following the ceremony. Finally, I would ask that you remain standing at your seats until the academic procession and the graduates have left the hall. Finally, please join now in the singing of our national anthem. After the singing of the anthem, this convocation stands adjourned.